What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 League Racing. We're going to be at the Qatar Grand Prix this weekend, but before we get into it, I just thought that I would tell you why I've been away for the last week. I've had a tremendously poor illness, maybe one of the worst illnesses I've had in my life. You might be able to still hear it in my voice, that I probably sound quite ill, but I feel physically capable of, getting out and making a video. I actually recorded this one a few days before I'm recording it. This was a really tough race for me to get through because of the illness and everything. So my performance in this one, let's just say I do some stuff that I probably wouldn't do otherwise if I was feeling 100%. But yeah, I try my best regardless. So we're going to get into qualifying now, and we are on our first of 3 sets of soft compound tyres, and it was actually a pretty good lap. I managed to avoid cutting the corners, all that kind of thing. We did a 1:23.3 though, so we were quite far off the pace. You can see I'm 1.6 seconds down on Captain Liam, who's currently in first. I'm going to need a big improvement if I'm going to want to challenge with the big boys later on. And as I was actually coming back into the pits on my cooldown lap, I was not paying attention to my mini-map, and I didn't see there were a couple people, an Alfa Romeo and a Mercedes, trying to come through, and I actually made contact with the Mercedes, and yeah, that meant that I ended up getting a 5-place grid penalty for that, as well as damage. The damage is fine. It was all just front wing damage. I could go back to the pits and fix that quite easily. But yeah, sadly the 5-place grid penalty, I said I think that's fair enough. Second flying lap, we were about 8/10 up, and I did that and invalidated the whole run, which means that we basically only have one shot now to try and actually get a good lap time in. You can see that the people around me are reasonably far ahead, including, Jermaine. So out of 11 drivers in this session at the moment, I am in 10th place, which isn't fantastic. So I'm going to need a good lap, and I think this could be the lap, honestly. We're 8/10 up as we come towards the final corner, but you can see that Phil there is on a 1:22.2. So we're going to need about a 1.1 second improvement to catch him. You can see out of the final corner, we have made some improvements, but I don't think it's going to quite be enough. We're going to cross the line to improve by just under a second, and it's 1:22.3, which means we were 1/10 off of Phil and Mark there. But yeah, overall my pace just not quite with it today. I guess the illness has kind of taken it out of me, coupled with the fact that because I was ill as well, I also didn't really do any practice for this track because I wasn't really feeling up to it. I literally didn't do anything basically for the best part of a week. It was I'm recording this on Tuesday morning, and it was last Wednesday was the actually it was last Tuesday the last time that I did a stream or recorded a video or anything like that. So it has been about a week with nothing. So yeah, we qualified 9th, but we'll be starting at the back due to that 5-place grid penalty. Dustin on pole there in the Aston Martin. Yeah, surprisingly high number of absences from this session. A couple people will be joining for the race who weren't able to make it to qualifying. But yeah, quite a small turnout here, which is a bit of a lifeline for me really, because I don't think that if we had a lot of people here, I'd be able to score points. But with only 13 drivers on the grid, I do think that there is a good chance that we can perhaps score some points or something like that. So yeah, we'll see how we go, and hopefully we can have a good race. We're now going to get into to doing all the setups and all this kind of thing, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I don't know what we're targeting here. I want to beat Phil probably primarily. He's sort of my closest championship rival at the moment. Me and him are sort of locked in a battle over 3rd in the championship, so I feel like he's got to be the target here. And yeah, we're going to be going on a medium soft strategy, and we'll see if it pays off as the lights come on and the lights go out. And yeah, we've had a pretty good getaway there compared to some of the cars around us. You can see that there's an Alfa Romeo of Ryan off in the barrier there, as Mike got a bit of oversteer there and I think pushed me into Jermaine. I was trying to go out the middle of them, but I couldn't quite do it. Mike's had another bit of oversteer there, and I think we're going to try and challenge up the inside of him now, give him plenty of racing room, and yeah, we'll see if we can race with him or not. We're wheel to wheel at the moment. I think I've just about pulled out ahead of him, but will he go for a move up the inside here? It looks like he was thinking about it, but I do think that we have just about managed to make our way up into P8. So from P11, we've already made up 3 positions, which is a very, very good start in this race. And now we're putting pressure on this 3-way battle for 5th between Mark, Liam, and Phil. We'll see if we can get ahead of these guys and maybe make our way up into 5th. That would be fantastic. Phil has to be the target here, I think, because he's the he's the driver who I want to beat, but he's on the softs, so I do think that he's got a really good chance of pulling away on those superior compound of tyre. Meanwhile, Liam and Mark in a tight battle there for P5 as well, and yeah, we'll see who wins out in that one. And I think they made a bit of contact there. You can see Mark almost pushing Liam, I'm pretty sure, and Liam was round, maybe into the wall, not quite sure, but then Mark bins it all on his own just a few corners later as well. So that's us making up 2 positions due to the squabbling between those 2 guys, and we're up into P6, so it's been a good start. We'll see now if we can stay with Phil, try and stick with him into the DRS zone, but he's going to be closing down the Red Bull of AM, one of the reserves who's racing on this occasion, and we will see if we can can grab this 5th place. If I can get top 5 here, I'll be immensely happy. I feel like you know, compared to other tracks where my pace has been sort of on the podium or thereabouts, especially when it's raining, I feel like Qatar is a bit more of a circuit that I don't tend to go quite so well at, and not only that, but I also really struggle to stay within track limits, as you can see there by the fact that I've just got my first warning of the race and my second warning of the race as well. So one more of those and it will be a 3-second penalty. So I need to be careful. I don't want to get too many of those, otherwise that's going to be making me slim pickings for Jermaine behind, who at the moment is not within DRS range, but definitely has the potential to close down into DRS range if I'm not careful. So yeah, we just need to try and do everything we can to push on and see if we can hold on to this. I think Phil on those soft compound tyres is just about pulling away. So yeah, he's actually managed to make his way up into 4th now ahead of AM, and we've kind of maintained the same sort of gap to these guys that we had before. So yeah, I don't know, but we do get a 3-second time penalty for the corner cutting, which is not what you wanted to see. Doesn't mean that at the moment Jermaine doesn't really need to do anything if he doesn't want to. He can just stay behind me and try and solidify this. But I'm sure that with time he will eventually pile some pressure on me. We'll see if he decides to. He was very, very close on that occasion, but not quite close enough to think about sizing up a move as we go off track again and get another track limits warning. And I mean, that is what, our 4th of the race already, and it's only lap 5, so we need to be careful here or we're going to be in danger of getting lots of penalties in this race. You can see we get another one there, and all of a sudden we're just 1 warning away from another penalty. So I'd say in 15 laps there's a very good chance we're going to get at least 1, maybe 2 more of those penalties. But either way, as we come into the DRS zone now, you can see that Jermaine is very close behind me. I can't really burn any battery because I realised that the battery harvesting here is absolutely terrible. You know, I wasn't burning any battery for the last like 3 laps or something like that, and I went down from 50% to 30% battery or something like that. It just doesn't seem to harvest itself at all, basically, around this circuit because it's so high speed. It's yeah, it's really hard to harvest DRS. So yeah, Jermaine has made his way up into P6. We couldn't fight with him at all, but we do manage to just about stay within his DRS range, which I think might be our saving grace in this race, to allow us to hopefully keep piling the pressure on for P6, piling the pressure on Jermaine here. But other than that, we've also got Captain Liam to worry about as well, who might be closing us down. That said, he did just lose a bunch of time to Mike. I'm not sure whether there was a coming together between those guys or what happened, but yeah, he lost about 3 or 4 seconds. So that's going to be good for my chances of keeping him behind, hopefully. As at the end of lap 7, you can see that Phil has come into the pits very early off those soft compound tyres. So I'm not sure what kind of strategy he's planning on doing. Maybe a soft hard. I feel like the mediums, they might just about be able to go 13 laps. Yeah, he is doing a soft medium. 13 laps on the mediums seems like quite a lot in my opinion. But you know, maybe he'll be able to make them work. Maybe he's the British Kamui Kobayashi. But in any case, we are going to try and put some pressure on Jermaine if we can. You can see we are super close now, 1/10 behind him. It seems like he had a poor run through some of those corners, and yeah, piling the pressure on him. Maybe he's taken the most out of his tyres at this point. Meanwhile, AM up the road on a 6-second penalty. So if we can get within 3 seconds of him, then we have a good chance of maybe closing down this this chance of getting even P4 here. I say P4, it's actually P5 because Phil has already pitted, of course. But yeah, there is a chance that we might be able to finish ahead of AM. 3.7 seconds is the gap. If we can close that down to 3 seconds, or if he gets a penalty, then yeah, we have a very, very good chance of getting him there. But yeah, we do get ahead of Jermaine for the time being. We're back up into P5, which will be P6 after the pit stop phase, because I think Phil definitely will pull off the undercut initially. The undercut at Qatar is a very powerful thing, but yeah, we just have to do what we can to try and push harder on the soft tyres at the end. You know, the thing about Qatar is that the tyre deg is also super high. You might remember my Qatar video from last year's, well, not last year, but last season's My Team race, as Jermaine overtakes me once again, swapping places with the Ferrari at the moment. There's a mega battle with him for P5, which will turn into P6 later on, I imagine. And yeah, we'll see if we can do anything to sort of win out in this fight. But yeah, the tyre deg around here is just so high that by the time we make it to this lap, you'll see in a second, because we're about to start my pit lap as we move on to lap 11. My tyre deg was something ridiculous, like 45 or 50% in 11 laps of a 35% race. We'll have a look now. Yeah, 47% on the front left. The tyre deg is super high around here. It's so hard to have any chance of getting to the position where you can push the tyres harder than you normally would. You know what I mean? You really do have to be gentle with them, because there's just no chance that you're going to have any way to preserve them, really. And well, seeing that we were probably almost about 50% by the time we came in at the end of lap 11, maybe even more than 50% on the front left, I was a little bit nervous actually that the soft compound wasn't going to do it, or if it did, it was going to be absolutely gone by the end of the stint, which I hope isn't going to be the case. But one thing that we did manage to clean up, at least for now, is the track limits warnings. We haven't had one since lap 5 now. We've done 6 clean laps in a row, and yeah, I'm hoping that we can continue that towards the end. If Jermaine gets a penalty, we'll be right back with him. But speaking about being right back with people, Captain Liam, after having that lap 1 incident with Mark, he is 0.3 seconds behind me. The only thing that I've got going for me here is that I'm on a fresh set of soft compound tyres and he's on the hard tyres. So at least for the time being, I should be marginally faster than him. He's a pretty fast guy. He got pole, if I'm not mistaken, in the USA, and sadly couldn't hold on to it. I think he had a lap 1 incident and then binned it under his own driving a few laps later, which yeah, very unfortunate for him. But having a pretty good comeback drive at the moment, you'd have to say, up into P9. And if he can get ahead of me, then he can maybe set off after Jermaine. And that was a very silly corner cut, that one. I literally went maybe a fraction over the limit of the track. Very easy to avoid. But, I mean, I say very easy to avoid. If it was that easy, why didn't I do it? So yeah, we're now on 6 seconds worth of penalties. It means that I think our chances of beating AM are going to be pretty slim, unless he picks up even more penalties. But yeah, we're going to see if we can just stay with Jermaine for the time being. The gap is 9/10. It means it's not over a second, which means we will have DRS on him, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to pile some pressure on as Mark now comes into the pits as well. So that's another position that we're all going to be gaining, and I am currently running in P7, and I believe this is my true net position in this race when now that everyone is pitted. So the running order at the moment, I believe it is Blitz in P1, followed by Dustin, then Phil, then Ringy, then AM, and then Jermaine, myself, Liam, Ryan, Mark, Mike, Simple, and Punisher is the running order at the moment, as we are currently on lap 13. And yeah, you can see that I actually make a bit of contact there with Jermaine. Very big mistake coming out from me. He broke a little bit early. Fortunately, he manages to keep it straight. I did apologise to him because of that, but what it meant was that Captain Liam saw an opportunity, he saw an opening, and he took it, and he's made his way up into P7, and we've been pushed down into P8. So yeah, we're going to have to work just that little bit harder now to try and get a good result here if we can. At the moment, we're only going to be scoring 4 points, and Phil is going to be moving further ahead in P3 in the championship. I can't remember who's actually in P3 at the moment, whether it's me or him. But yeah, he's going to be making his way through, I imagine, if we don't do something quite drastic here. I thought about sending a move up the inside of Liam there. Thought better of it. He was battling with Jermaine as well. And yeah, this is turning into a 3-way fight for 6th between the 3 of us now. At the moment, I'm at the back of this train, but maybe with a little bit of luck, I might be able to work my way through the train. You can see that these guys are pretty close. I think Liam might just about have the superior pace to Jermaine. He was a lot faster in qualifying, obviously. He also had a 5-place grid penalty, if I'm not mistaken, for impeding somebody on a quali lap. He actually didn't get an in-game penalty for that, but we what's the word I'm looking for? Reviewed it and applied it before the race started. So yeah, that was something that kind of made him start a little bit further down the order. I think he actually qualified in 4th, from what I understand. But yeah, in any case, we had another track limits warning there. That's our 7th of the race now, and we're going to see if we can do anything to pile the pressure on these fellas. You can see I'm only 4 tenths behind Jermaine, but of course he does have that DRS to Captain Liam in front, and this allows both of us to close down Captain Liam by quite a lot. And what it really means is that Captain Liam is just struggling to break away. He has to do it over the course of the entire lap. You know, there's only one DRS zone around here, right? So you would feel like it wouldn't be too hard to break away, but for some reason it actually is. You know, I found that I couldn't build a gap to Jermaine, and when Jermaine was ahead of me, he couldn't build a gap to me. And now I think Captain Liam is finding that when he's ahead of the both of us, he's also struggling to build a gap. But there is a slight change in the running order, because AM on 12 seconds worth of penalties has spun it round, and he is out of the race. That is his race over. I don't know if he just decided it wasn't worth continuing anymore. I definitely think he still could have got a few points, but he decided to retire. A little bit of a rage quit perhaps coming out there on lap 16. Only a few laps to go. Seems like a bit of a shame, but you know, that is what it is. And that is 1 position gain for us. We're up into P7. So yeah, 6 points for the championship as things stand. Liam starting to pull away a little bit from Jermaine, but again, it might just be the same thing where Jermaine has the DRS to try and close him down. I'm running out of battery like crazy. I think you can see that Jermaine is basically out of battery as well. We're all harvesting like mad, because this track just eats battery for breakfast. And yeah, with only 4 laps to go, including this one, there are not going to be very many opportunities to try and get past these guys. I feel like the DRS zone is about the only overtaking opportunity on this track, at least for me. And that's basically going to entirely hinge on whether Captain Liam can break away from Jermaine. At this point, I'm kind of cheering on Captain Liam, ironically. I kind of need him to try and break 1 second away from Jermaine, because if he doesn't do that, then there's going to be basically no way that we can get Jermaine, because he's just going to be able to use the DRS of Captain Liam to stay ahead of me. So yeah, we actually kind of want Liam to be fast here. Fortunately, he's on those hard compound tyres, and Jermaine is on the soft, so I feel like Jermaine's softs might start to go off as we pick up our 8th track limits warning of the race now. 1 more and we're going to be on another set of penalties, which, you know, I really don't want, so I'm going to have to try and keep it clean now for these last 2 laps of the race. You can see 43% on the front left. These tyres are starting to go off quite significantly, and meanwhile, yeah, Liam, once again, not quite fast enough to break out of that DRS range, but 7 tenths up the road from Captain Liam now, or 6 tenths or so. Oh, sorry, from Jermaine, Captain Liam is. There is a very small chance that by the end of the lap, he might have just about managed to break away from him, and if he can do that, then maybe we can put pressure on Jermaine on the final lap of the race. But even that, I feel like that is going to be a tall task. However, there is one thing we do have to worry about. We're going to run out of fuel if we're not careful, because we are on minus 0.03 at the moment. So we need to make sure that we maybe do a little bit of lift and coast. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just consolidate P7 here. You know, obviously they've got 3 seconds worth of penalties as well. Even if I do overtake Jermaine on track, unless he picks up another penalty as well, there is a real chance that he's just going to finish ahead of me anyway. So I think I need to do something more sort of sensible and just do what I can to consolidate P7 if I possibly can. And yeah, I think we're just going to try and cruise this to the finish, try and do as much lift and coast as we can to get to the end of the race. And yeah, hope that there aren't too many issues with the fuel that could potentially see us falling into the clutches of Ryan behind. You know, he's quite far behind, so I think we've got a pretty good chance of keeping him behind. But you know, I don't want to run the risk if I don't have to. And yeah, that is going to be P7 for us, I imagine. So we'll see we'll see how many points everyone gets and how that affects the championship and that kind of thing. But yeah, unfortunately, I just had to back off at the end here to make sure that I didn't run out of fuel. However, there is a yellow flag up in front, and I'm not quite sure what this is for, but I think we're about to find out. And it is Jermaine has run out of fuel. What a surprising turn of events. We were concerned about saving our own fuel. I was so sure that I was conserving my fuel to make sure I could get to the end, and that would be me consolidating P7. But we're up into P6 because Jermaine is completely out of fuel, and he's not the only one. Phil, who I have been trying to beat in this race this whole time, you know, it wasn't happening for me. He just seemed like he had way more pace, has also run out of fuel. And yeah, we have managed to do just about enough lift and coast to make it to the end. So we are going to be several seconds ahead of these guys. I think there's a chance that Ryan could probably catch both of them as well, which, I mean, that potentially means that it's going to be, what, P7 and P8 for Phil and Jermaine there, and I think Mark is coming along in the McLaren as well. So yeah, we are going to cross the line to somehow take P5 in the Qatar Grand Prix. I did not see that coming at all. This this surprising twist at the end with the fuel. It means that Ryan is going to somehow come home in P6, having been running in, I think, like P9 for a lot of the race. Mark just about pips Phil on the line, but with the penalties applied, he does fall back behind Phil. And yeah, I believe it is going to be Jermaine picking up P9. And I'm not sure what's going on with Mike and Simple, but I think Mike has a lot of penalties from what I understand, due to track limits and stuff like that. So I think that despite the fact that he will finish ahead of Simple on track, I think that it is going to be Simple picking up the final points position. And yeah, that is going to be the end of the Qatar Grand Prix. A P5 finish for us, 10 points in the championship, a maiden victory in the series for Dustin Bruins, and driver of the day goes to Captain Liam, who went from P9 or P8, I think maybe, to the back of the grid to P4. So yeah, a fantastic result for him, and I mean, a pretty good result for all the top three. It's Dustin from Ringy from Blitz, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, that is going to do wonders for Dustin's confidence. He's actually a full-time driver in the league now. He was initially just a reserve, but for these last 5 races, he is going to be driving full-time at Aston Martin, replacing Hecky, who has decided to drop out. So yeah, it's going to be a very strong driver partnership when Dougie Falcons comes back as well. These two guys, I think, are going to be consistent podium features. But yeah, that is going to be it for the Qatar Grand Prix. And wow, I can't believe that. That means that we are very comfortably in P3 in the championship now, over 10 points ahead of Phil. So if we can pick up a good result in the next race, then who knows? I believe the next track that we're going to be racing at is going to be Zandvoort, which is going to be fantastic. And the best news of all in terms of my championship fight is that Phil Skills is not going to be here. So I am going to be able to pick up some huge points over him. So yeah, we need to make sure that we can go as well as we can there, really capitalise on that opportunity, try and get another top 5 finish if we can, and really try and consolidate this P3 in the championship. I think there's going to be quite a few people hunting for it. Ringy, Dustin, who knows, maybe even some other people as well, but I'm ready to take them all on, and I will do what I can. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.